breaking, Loretta Lynch is going down, look what's happening to her after sick thing she was caught doing. Members of the House of Representatives are officially calling for an investigation to be placed on former Attorney General Loretta Lynch and her interference into the investigation in Clinton's email scandal from 2016. Specifically, her involvement when she spoke with President Clinton on an airplane tarmac in Phoenix, Arizona. There is certainly a parallel with the three investigations into the president's ties to Russian government officials and their influence in their 2016 presidential election. Except both the House of Representatives, Senate, and Federal Bureau of Investigation are all investigating the president's ties to Russia while nobody is investigating Loretta Lynch and her alleged misconduct. The issue came back to the media headlines after former FBI Director James Comey testified before the Senate and House of Representatives and indicated that Loretta Lynch had asked him to refer to the Clinton investigation as a matter and not an investigation. Something which was not previously made or known as public information. The former FBI director said the following while testifying before the Senate. The Attorney General had directed me not to call it an investigation, but instead to call it a matter, which confused me and concerned me. That was one of the bricks in the load that led me to conclude, I have to step away from the department if we're to close this case credibly. The Clinton campaign, at the time, was using all kind of euphemisms, security review, matters, things like that, for what was going on. We were getting to a place where the Attorney General and I were both going to have to testify and talk publicly about. And I wanted to know, was she going to authorize us to confirm we had an investigation? And she said, yes, but don't call it that, call it a matter. And I said, why would I do that? And she said, just call it a matter. That was the thing that capped it for me, that I had to do something separately to protect the credibility of the investigation, which meant both the FBI and the Justice Department. Neither the Clintons, President Obama, or Loretta Lynch herself have made comments to the media about these recent developments. Which isn't new surprising because guilty people always like to take the fifth if at all possible. Not only are Lynch's crimes and misconduct in the past but they a thing of the present as well. Shortly before the congressional baseball game practice that left 5 people injured, 2 of which were members of Congress, the former Attorney General released a video where she called for people to resist the president and what she said is definitely not kosher. In a video released earlier in the week, Loretta Lynch said the following. I know that this is a time of great fear and uncertainty for so many people. I know it's a time of concern for people who see our rights being assailed, being trampled on, and even being rolled back. I know that this is difficult, but I remind you that this has never been easy. We have always had to work to move this country forward to achieve the great ideals of our founding fathers. And it has been people, individuals who have banded together, ordinary people who simply saw what needed to be done and came together and supported those ideals, who have made the difference. They've marched, they've bled, yes, some of them have died. This is hard. Every good thing is. We have done this before, we can do this again. Her comments border on inciting violence. But violence is covered in the flowery term of resisting. However, as the assailant of the congressional shooting has proven, resist means violence. Perhaps we should ask Majority GOP Whip Representative Steve Scalise what he thinks about that as he sits in the hospital with a bullet in his hip. Lynch isn't the only one calling for violence. Senator Tim Kaine did as well in a recent MSNBC segment where he spoke with the Morning Joe hosts. Mika Brzezinski asked him. There's so much going on here that we clearly see, places where we can criticize what the administration is doing, but how does the Democratic Party rebuild? How do you prevent a continuation of the bubble in a situation like this, and how does the party reclaim its reach across the country while fighting these battles?